Today we're going to talk about making a wiring harness for your Tortoise Switch machines, just like this one here. I'm Tom Kovichak, and this is Tom's Trains and Things. This channel was created to help other modelers who are in need of guidance in pursuing their dream of building a model railroad. And if you have Tortoise Switch machines on your layout, you're going to want to watch this video here. Now, I've been making up these cables right here. I've been doing this for a while. I got about 4 or 5 of them on my layout already, and I need to make up a few more. I have about 18 turnouts on my layout so far. Now, what I have, and I bought this a long time ago from Radio Shack, it is 8 conductor, 4 twisted pair, color-coded wire. Now that's a telephone wire. Now you could also use Cat 5 cable. Now listen to this, manufacturers. If you could make a little connector that would connect in the back of a Tortoise switch machine or the other type of switch machine, that would be great. Now that would save a lot of problems, and that would be a really great idea. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about this little thing right here. Now, I have them in a few places on my layout, and you can see one of them right there. And I don't have any signals or indicators hooked up to them right now, but I will in the future. Now, you can wire them like this now and have them ready for future expansion for when you want to do your signaling and everything else and put them right into your panels. You can make these up at the bench and then put them on your switch machines and install them and just hook them up however you want to. You don't have to hook up your switches. You don't have to hook up your signals or anything else just to operate your turnouts, and you're good to go. And for later expansion, you could hook up your signals, you could hook up your indications on your panels and everything else. So let's get started with this demonstration of how we're going to do this. And what I didn't tell you on there, that this is 24 gauge wire. And I bought this years ago, and it was 1995. But anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about where did I put that power supply at. I got it right here. I'm about to do a demonstration on this power supply right there on how to hook it up. And I ran down to Radio Shack the other day, and lo and behold, it was closed. So I went online and I looked, and Radio Shack has closed all their stores. Now the closest one is about 30 miles away, and it's in a furniture store. And the next one closest to that is 60 miles away in Clewiston, Florida, and that is a auto parts store. So what's going on here, Radio Shack? So I need a couple of resistors for that project, so I have to order them online. So I'm going to make up a list of other things that I'm going to need for that project and some other projects, and I'm going to order that stuff. And so that video is going to be put on hold for maybe another week until I get the resistors in for that, because you need a resistor on here to hold the circuit on, to simulate that there's a computer hooked up to it, and it keeps the power supply regulated so you have a constant voltage on it. So let's get started with this anyway. This is a crude drawing of what the inside of the Tortoise switch machine looks like. And as you can see, the outside terminals are for actuating the switch machine. The inside ones are for the contacts in there. There are 2 single pole, single throw switches on the inside. Now the common ones are 4 and 5. Now depending on which way the motor is going, you have 2 and 3 and 6 and 7 as the contacts. Now, when 7 is open, 3 is or 2 is going to be closed, and just the opposite when 6 is open, when the arm is up here, number 3 is going to be closed. So when this one's up like that, this one's going to be down here. So depending on which way your switch machine is moving, it's going to change the position of these two wipers on the internal switches in the switch machine. And so that'll give you a different output. That'll give you a different indication of for your signals or for your lights on your panel. Now, you can wire your lights directly or your LEDs directly into here, but that's not going to show you when the switch actually makes contact. Okay, that'll show you when it has power to it. But if you want to show when it actually makes contact, because it takes 3 seconds to actually go from one position to another, depending on the voltage you use, you hook it up to the contacts inside, and you'll get an actual representation of when the contact actually makes. Now, you could use up to 12 volt DC, anywhere up to 12 volt DC on there. So you could, and depending on the voltage you use is how fast it's going to go. 12 volts is going to go the fastest, and that says 3 seconds. Now I've run it down as low as 5 volts, and it goes pretty slow when you do 5 volts. Now this is what Circuitron says. You could take a wall wart with rated at 500 milliamps, that's a half an amp, and you'll be able to operate 30 switch machines on it. Now that's a lot of switch machines on a small wall wart of a half an amp rated at 12 volt DC. So this is pretty good. So this is the basic wiring diagram for the Circuitron Tortoise Switch Machine, and I'll get in a little bit deeper into the wiring on your panel in another video. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the connectors on there. Now, I got this, I bought a bunch of these connectors when I got my Tortoise Switch machines, and they make a lot of different kinds of them. Now I soldered these on right here. Now, they make the kind where you could plug them into the circuit board on the switch machine and screw your wires on a terminal on the back of them. Now, for those that don't like to solder, you could do it that way. And I'm going to find some of those and order some of those connectors there. And I'm also going to get the next time I stop up at Metro Trains and Hobbies up in Fort Myers, I'm going to pick me up a Cobalt Switch Machine and see if they have those little plug-ins that have the terminal board on it, so I could do that with the Tortoise Switch Machine, and I'll be able to do video on that also. So we'll have that coming up in the future also. Cobalt. But anyway, I got these terminal blocks, and these are the smaller ones. These are the European style. Now what I did was I put the white and the black on the outside for the switch motor, okay, and then the blue and the yellow, and then, you know, and every one I do the same way. And however I do the switch machine, you could see I do the terminal board or the terminal block the same way, the same colors. So whenever it's time to wire this up, I know where to put the wires on here. Now, like I said before, this is an old 4 twisted pairs telephone wire, but you could also use a Cat5 wire, which has 8 conductors also. In the future, I'm going to work on a little different project. I'm going to use Cat5 cable, and I'm going to put not these connectors, but the connectors that you could screw the wires into on the back of it, and then hook it up to a Cat 5 plug on the other end, and then I'll put a Cat 5 receptacle over on my control panel, and that way we'll just plug it in and we're good to go with it. That's what I'm going to work on a little bit later on when I get some more connectors and stuff and put in an order for that. So this is my last one here, so I can't make up any more right now. You could solder directly on the circuit board on the Tortoise Switch machine, or you could solder it on these connectors, or you can get the connectors where you could where it has terminals on the back, where you just push the wire into the terminal and just tighten up the screw on it. That's it for right now. I'll be doing another video showing you how to hook up the indicator lights for your panel and hook up a toggle switch on it. Now I have mine hooked up to a DS64. So anyway, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know why? Because it's free. And while you're at it, ding that bell. And that'll notify you whenever there is a video coming out. And check out my webpage, tomstrainsandthings.com. I put new stuff on there every week. And if you'd like to support this channel, there's rewards on Patreon. There's more videos on Patreon that I don't put on YouTube. And don't forget, I got the power supply coming up whenever the resistors come in, and the Gravely building. We're going to be putting that thing together finally this coming week. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see ya. And check that out.